Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a look at continuing problems involving the Arizona Corporation Commission. Also tonight, a new cancer research center opens up in downtown Phoenix, and we'll hear about a program aimed at freeing innocent inmates. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The governor's office today told the Arizona Republic that the governor plans to personally intervene in the hiring of a new for-profit prison company to run the troubled state corrections facility near Kingman. The contract with the previous private prison operator was terminated after a report found the company at fault for several days of riots. The governor's office says it wants the hiring process open to public bids after questions arose regarding campaign donations from private prison companies. Department of Corrections Director Charles Ryan wants to include funding for 2,500 new private prison beds in next year's budget. That's on top of the over $17 million that will be spent on new for-profit prison beds already approved. The Corrections Department is asking for more beds to accommodate a growing prison population. And Senator John McCain is again expressing his opposition to the proposed Iran nuclear deal. McCain today called the plan the worst agreement in recent history.
It will clearly trigger nuclearization of other nations in the region, without a doubt. There is either weak or non-existence verification and inspection procedures, and in my view, this will have catastrophic consequences over time in the Middle East, including put the state of Israel in a direct threat to the existence of the state of Israel.
McCain spoke today at an event in Mesa. A Chandler attorney filed a complaint today with the state attorney general's office in an effort to start proceedings to remove Arizona Corporation Commissioner Susan Bittersmith from office. This, as other questions continue to cloud the five-member commission. Lori Roberts of the Arizona Republic is following all this. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Before we get into the wherefores and whatnots, the Corporation Commission, for those who aren't entirely familiar, what is the commission and why is it so important?
In a nutshell, it's a five-member elected body, five people who have a big impact on your life every single month. When your telephone bill arrives, when your electricity bill arrives, when you get ready to pay your gas bill. These people regulate Arizona's monopolies, their public utilities, and basically set the rates that you and I will pay. Coincidentally, they also set the profits that those corporations can make. That is why it is so important that we have an independent body, an independent commission that regulates these corporations, that is free of any sort of influence from those corporations. We need to know that the people who are working for us are really working for us.
All right, so let's start with today's action against Susan Bittersmith, the commissioner, as she is accused of conflict of interest, registered as a lobbyist, which I find interesting in and of itself, but she's also the head of a telecom trade group, which may or may not have actions that involve the commission?
Well, she wears many hats. She is the chairwoman of the Corporation Commission. At the same time, she supposedly works that is a full-time job, by the way. She also works full-time and draws a salary running a cable communications TV industry, cable group, trade group. That includes telecommunications companies. Now again, telecommunications companies are regulated by the Corporation Commission, and she is a registered lobbyist for Cox Communications. Now she says there's no merit to this complaint because she only lobbies for the cable side of Cox. Well, we all know, those of us who have bundled deals, that we also pay Cox for our telephone service. Therefore, it is a telecommunications company as well that does business before the Corporation Commission. Thirdly, she has a public affairs firm that she runs that also does business before the Corporation Commission. So the question becomes, who, Susan Bittersmith, are you representing? Are you regulating these places to give us the best rates that we can get? Are you regulating them to give them the best profits they can get?
She says she's, quote, never been employed by any company regulated by the Corporation Commission.
Well, okay. She works for Cox Communications. Cox Communications is a cable company. They have an entity, an arm of Cox Communications that is a telecom company. I'm guessing she doesn't like very often to go up against Cox Communications because she's getting money from them. It just, whether it is a technical conflict from a legal standpoint that Attorney General Mark Brnovich will be involved in finding some problem with, I don't know. But it has a really high stink factor.
Well,
and they're not the only ones.
Well, I was going to say, let's continue now with the stink factor as we move over to another particular odor. And this involves the 3 commissioners that seem, everyone and their brother believes that the 2 that were elected with dark money funneled by APS. APS isn't denying this so far, and yet a third commissioner may have had something to do with getting that money to the camp.
And then there's a 4th former commissioner who is under investigation, by the Attorney General's office. Let's start with the 3. Let's start with the 2. Tom Farese and Doug Little were elected to the Corporation Commission last year. They were viewed as the more pro-APS sorts of candidates. It is widely believed, and by that I mean just about everybody, probably even those 2, though I can't really say for sure, that APS funneled $3.2 million or more or less, but a sizable amount of money into dark money independent campaigns to get those 2 elected. Going back to the fact that now I pay an APS bill every month, and many of you do as well, doesn't it concern you a little bit that they're beholden now to this company? And nobody on the commission will order APS to open its books so we can find out for sure if they are.
Have they shown themselves to be beholden to APS so far in their tenure?
Thus far, I have seen 2 votes that indicate that on both cases they have sided with APS. One was just a couple of weeks ago, well, I should say 1 vote, let's say, and it was just a couple of weeks ago when APS was asking the Commission to consider allowing them to quadruple their rate on their solar customers, their fee on solar customers, not their rate. The administrative law judge that looked this over recommended not to consider that this year, to wait until there's a full-blown rate case next year when everything's laid out on the table. It was a 3-2 vote with both Tom Farese and Doug Little voting against that recommendation and going with APS, saying, yes, we will consider this issue this year. So that's really the first issue that's come up, but it was a 3-2 vote with those 2 and with Bob Stump in support of APS's position. And
there was an agenda item to go ahead and look at dark money in the Corporation Commission races, and that was pulled by
Doug Little. I talked to Mr. Little this morning, and he says, and this is a fair thing, I think. He says, look, it was a last-minute addition by Susan Bittersmith and Bob Burns. We had other complex things we were dealing with, and so I'd ask that it be withdrawn from the agenda. And commissioners do that on occasion, or possibly more often than on occasion, and any commissioner can pull an item once. So it will come back up again. The question is, will one of the others pull it, or will we have this discussion that is so desperately needed?
And we don't even have time for former Commissioner Pierce. The whistleblower claimed that he was close to an APS official and a campaign operative. What has happened?
Quickly, I can tell you what that is about. The whistleblower is alleging, among other things, that then Commission Chairman Gary Pierce had 14 one-on-one private lunch or dinner meetings with the head of APS. 7 of those meetings while APS was asking for a rate increase. Propriety of that is just questionable. Now, I am told, and I checked today, and I believe that Mark Brnovich's office will be coming down with some sort of decision on that investigation, along with whatever they're doing with Bob Stump's text messages within the next few weeks.
Okay. Last question. I mean, the Corporation Commission used to be the place where candidates went to hide. I mean, officials would do their job at the legislature or some other place, and then go to the Corporation Commission and just get work done and no one paid. What has happened to these folks?
Well, I think in part it was Citizen United that happened, and it allows corporations to quietly, secretly, legally put money into these campaigns, and they figured out, well, if we can buy ourselves a commission of people that will give us the people that are setting our rates, why wouldn't we? Indeed, why wouldn't they? It's a good question for somebody to ask the Arizona legislature, which has refused to consider any sort of disclosure requirement.
And there is no hint of anyone, legislature or the commission, any commissioner, to ask for APS or anyone else to open their books?
From 2014, no, there is not, and it's desperately needed. And that's how they can show us, the ratepayers, that they are independent. Do that. Open up those books. Let us see what's there. What's the big secret?
All right, Lori, always a pleasure. Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
The University of Arizona Cancer Center opened recently at St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center in downtown Phoenix. Dr. Peter Lance joins us now. He's the interim deputy director of this new cancer facility. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thank you very much for having me.
How does this differ from the Cancer Center down in Tucson?
It's an extension of the Cancer Center in Tucson, so we like to call it one cancer center, two locations. And so for a long time we've been very keen to expand so that we can offer what we think we bring to the table to the largest number of patients within our state.
Expansion, does that mean different things will be emphasized here as opposed to Tucson?
No, it really means that we're expanding our programs in Tucson and with particular attention to recruiting more patients to our clinical trials.
It's a National Cancer Institute designated center. What does that mean?
So the National Cancer Institute, which is the cancer arm of the National Institutes of Health, has 41 what they call comprehensive cancer centers around the country. So the U of A Cancer Center, in fact, is the only NCI designated comprehensive cancer center that is actually owned and it has its home here in Arizona.
I believe, doesn't Mayo share its campuses?
Right, but the headquarters is in Rochester.
Now, as far as accreditation, there are accreditation concerns going on as we speak regarding the U of A Medical Center. How will those impact the Cancer Center?
They won't. The Cancer Center grant that pays for this designation is renewed every 5 years, and so that goes on the cycle that is designed and designated by the NCI. So
the liaison committee does not necessarily have a problem with the Cancer Center, or is that Cancer Center again under the umbrella of their concerns?
I'm not privy to what the LCME is concerned about, but it really the Comprehensive Cancer Center is really a separate consideration.
Okay, yeah, I think they're concerned about governance and who has enough. Will the Phoenix facilities have the same kind of power that the Tucson facilities have and the needed power to do good work?
Absolutely. So again, we're one cancer center in two locations, so we have one management structure, as it were, and for our operations here in Phoenix, we're affiliated with Dignity St. Joseph's.
What need is filled? It seems like there's a crowded field of cancer centers here in the Valley. What need is filled?
The need that is filled is, number one, we think that we compete with the best, and I think in the long run patients benefit from competition. And if you compare what we're doing here with other comparable sized cities around the country, in fact I don't think we are over-endowed with centers of this kind. And I should say that we also collaborate. I mean, the moment actually submitting a very large grant which has participation from Mayo, from ASU, from NAU, and from Banner MD Anderson. So we do work together for our research.
And so there is a collaboration out there as opposed to competition?
Absolutely, yes. So collaboration when it comes to team science is the name of the game.
I know looking up this story, someone, it might have been you, I can't remember who it was, said that there were, quote, big holes in cancer care that the center could fill.
I don't think that I was specifically saying that, but I think that we bring our palette of across the waterfront trials to the people of Phoenix, and so I think that we very much are going to be offering things that aren't here at the moment.
I was going to say the key here is the clinical trials with patients, correct?
Correct.
Talk to us about those.
So the way that we improve, I mean, obviously we're all here to prolong the lives and make the lives better of all of our patients and ourselves when we're patients, and the way that we advance the science and get it into the clinic is by doing clinical trials. And so that is why the coin of the realm for an NCI Cancer Center is the clinical trial portfolio, and we find more and more that that's what patients are looking for. So they go to the website and they see what trials we have to offer.
And as far as what patients are looking for, I know that genetics and immunotherapy are very hot right now. Talk to us about those.
Yeah, so people are familiar with chemotherapy that has been around for a long time and has brought amazing advances, but what we're more and more aware of is that we need new approaches. Basically, immunotherapy is all about bringing to the table, bringing to bear the patient's own immune system to fight the specific tumor that is in that patient. And so this is potentially a major leap forward as we begin to get into immunotherapy.
And great strides are being made in that, aren't they?
They are being made. I mean, you know, you don't want to oversell and you don't want to undersell, but there have been tremendous advances, for instance, in melanoma. We have here TGen, world leaders in melanoma research, in kidney cancer. So we're very much involved in getting the other types of tumor up to speed, as it were.
And as far as opening the center in downtown Phoenix, why is that important?
We think that it is important to be here in the middle of this wonderful burgeoning city where we can be accessible to the largest number of patients.
And as far as the medical staff, now it begins seeing patients when?
We've actually been seeing patients on the St. Joseph's campus since 2013. We opened our doors here with a full court press on August the 13th of this year, and in fact that very first day there were 35 patients that received their chemotherapy infusions in the new building.
And that's a good point. A last question here, the collaboration with Dignity and St. Joe's, how does that work?
It's absolutely a 50-50. We're very proud to be part of such a wonderful organization as Dignity and St. Joseph's that's been serving people here in the Valley for over 100 years, and so we think this couldn't be a better partner.
So St. Joe's takes more, what, medical testing, or?
So St. Joseph's is essentially responsible for the clinical activity, and we bring the research to the table, and we work together daily on a basis of cooperation.
Well, very good. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate having you here.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
ASU's Post-Conviction Clinic looks to help inmates who are innocent but have been convicted of a crime. The clinic recently received a grant from the National Institute of Justice. Catherine Pazowskis is Executive Director of the Arizona Justice Project, and Joey Normandy is the clinic's coordinator. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
The Post-Conviction Clinic, give me a better definition.
Sure. The Post-Conviction Clinic started in January of 2009. It is a clinical program at the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. It's a collaborative effort with the Arizona Justice Project to review prisoner claims of innocence post-conviction. Not only does the clinic look at cases of actual innocence, but in its history, it's also looked at cases where we believe there's been a miscarriage of justice. So the clinic gives law students practical experience looking at claims post-conviction.
And when they are looking, first of all, how do you decide which cases to look at? I mean, what kind of process goes on?
Well, at the Arizona Justice Project, we have an intake lawyer who reviews, the hundreds of petitions that come in detailing, what they feel, how they've been wronged. And based on that intake lawyer's finding, she passes along claims that she believes has merit, and then we have law students take a closer look.
And what do they look at when they take a closer look?
Well, it varies. There's a lot of instances of, if you look at the DNA evidence that hadn't been analyzed or technology that didn't exist at the time. There's been instances of prosecutorial misconduct, forensics that are unverified or there's been some kind of misconduct in that regard. So.
I would imagine the DNA would be a very big factor.
Sure, and some of the cases we're looking at are decades old, and there was not the DNA testing technologies available then that we have now. In addition to that, other forensic disciplines have evolved over time, especially if you're talking about fire science or ballistics or fingerprint analysis or hair microscopy. So when we're talking about decades old cases, we're sort of bringing these cases back up to the surface and reanalyzing them based on current technologies.
And so what will the students exactly be doing?
Well, I mean, students, it's great because at the clinic, students get to take a look at a case from the commission of the offense, meaning looking at the facts of the crime. And then they review it all the way through trial, appellate procedures, and so forth. And so it really gives students kind of a practical practice experience and teaches a lot of good lessons regardless of whether they're going to be doing prosecution or defense work.
But litigation is not really a primary component, correct?
Not necessarily, but in the past it has. You know, in my experience as a former student, I represented a client at the Arizona Board of Clemency in 2 separate hearings, phase 1 and phase 2. So, you know, if it comes to that, these cases take, you know, on average anywhere from 6 to 7 years. So, you know.
Why do they take on average 6 to 7 years?
Well, like I'd mentioned, oftentimes we're looking at old convictions. So it takes a long time to recreate the case file. When we get a file, the case has been through pretrial proceedings, trial, and appellate proceedings, and oftentimes it's been through a number of post-conviction relief proceedings. So we're looking at several attorneys who had the case over a long period of time. So we're having to recreate the case file. So that's one component. And then we're having to locate people, witnesses in the case, and to try to talk to them about the case.
Do you try to focus on Arizona cases?
Yes, it's Arizona specific. So
okay.
People who have been convicted in the state of Arizona.
Any cases so far that you can tell us have somehow got a result that you were looking for or anticipating, or what can you tell us so far?
Well, we can't discuss specifics of any cases, but I can tell you that, you know, the clinic and as an extension, the umbrella kind of is the Arizona, at the Arizona Justice Project, there's been 16 exoneration cases that are not technically all exoneration, but successful cases that resulted in release, and there's some pending cases right now.
So when we're talking about the 16 people who have been released within the past 6 years by the Arizona Justice Project, and in one of those cases in particular, working in conjunction with the post-conviction clinic, those are cases where there's either been a claim of innocence or in a case of manifest injustice. So we're looking at maybe an excessive sentence or a diagnosis that wasn't available at the time of trial or something like that.
Now there's a 2-year grant, $900,000 grant involved here. Talk to us about that.
Yes, so that grant is through the National Institute of Justice, and it's a Bloodsworth grant named after Kirk Bloodsworth, who was the first DNA exoneree to be sentenced to death, and this was in the state of Maryland. The Justice Project received a Bloodsworth grant in 2008, which was used to actually start the clinic at the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. That grant expired in 2013, and it was able to be renewed, and so we just started implementing the new grant in January of this year.
So, what do you want students involved in the project, in the clinic, what do you want them to learn? What do you want them to take from all this?
Well, I think, you know, in the grand scheme of things, just a broader view of what our criminal justice system looks like. You know, it's not black and white, good guys versus bad guys, you know. There's over 2 million people incarcerated in this country, and human beings are prone to error, and the criminal justice system being a human creation, there are people that slip through the cracks. And working with some of these inmates and seeing and hearing their stories really puts a face to those statistics. And, you know, I can think of nothing more worthy than getting somebody who's innocent, you know, giving them their freedom back.
I would imagine you see people changing all the time when they get involved in these kinds of cases.
Absolutely, absolutely. A wrongful conviction doesn't only affect the wrongfully convicted, it has ripple effects. It affects the families of the people wrongfully convicted. It affects the attorneys who have been involved over time. It can even affect the victims in some of these cases. So it has ripple effects, and nobody wants to see an innocent person incarcerated for something they didn't do.
All right. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you
to
for
have
having
you
us.
here. And Thursday on Arizona Horizon, find out about efforts to help spur development along transit routes, and we'll hear about a Casa Grande-based company using a desert plant to make natural rubber. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.